Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is your first homework video assignment, so you'll be doing this pretty much the whole year. This is kind of the format it's going to be in. So today's video is on the characteristics of living things. We're about to get into our unit on cells, so this is the first step that we're going to take. Alright, so to be classified as living, an organism has to be made up of cells. Okay? And cells are membrane-covered structures that contain all instructions for life. And we're going to go in depth with cells. We're going to learn about all the structures. We're going to learn about the cell membrane. We'll learn about how things move in and out of cells. Learn about how cells contain all the instructions for life. So we're going to get really in depth into cells. That's what this whole first unit is. And if you have to be living, you're going to have cells. Alright, second one is they have to be able to respond to changes in their environment, and this all works off a stimulus response. Alright, so the stimulus is anything that causes a reaction or change in an organism. Okay, so if you look down at the picture, you see that the doctor is hitting the patient's knee, and that's the stimulus. The patient then is responding to that by kicking his leg out. And this whole stimulus response mechanism is all for homeostasis. Alright, and homeostasis is maintaining a stable internal environment. So for example, if you're cold, okay, there's something that your body does to make sure that you stay warm, or as warm as possible, keep your body temperature up. So when you're cold, you start to shiver. And that's your body's way of saying, okay, muscles, you need to contract as fast as possible. It's going to generate heat. That's going to keep your inside warm. All right, just like if it's hot out and your body is starting to heat up, you have to do something in order to cool down. And for that, we sweat. Okay, so those are some examples of stimulus response and maintaining homeostasis. So maintaining homeostasis, again, is just making sure that your internal environment, your cells inside your body, is constant with what's going on outside. Alright, third thing, all cells contain DNA. This is what DNA looks like. We're not going to get too much into this now because we have a whole unit on DNA and genetics later on this year. It'll be the third unit we go over. So, not going to get too much into detail with DNA now. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Alright, and it's responsible for giving your cells all the instructions it needs to survive. Alright, fourth thing, all living things have to be able to reproduce. Okay, now, we do realize that when we have pets, dogs and cats especially, they get spayed or neutered and can no longer reproduce. That does not mean that they are not living. Alright, so it's to be able to reproduce or was once able to reproduce. Okay, so that doesn't mean because your dog or cat got spayed or neutered and they can't technically make offspring anymore, that they're not living. Okay, so as long as they were once able to reproduce and they weren't altered or they're not sterile or anything like that, then they're still considered a living thing. Alright, fifth thing, all living things have to use energy. Okay, all living things use energy. Energy is in the form of something called ATP. We will talk about ATP in detail. When I was working in the lab over the summer, one of the things I was doing was detecting powders and seeing if those powders contain living things such as anthrax or any type of spores. And what I used to measure this was a reader that measured levels of ATP, which is just energy. Okay, so that's our energy that our bodies make and use. And the last thing, all living things have to be able to grow and develop. Obviously, we do not stay the same throughout our entire lives. We grow, we develop, we mature, we get older, we age. All right. So in order to be a living thing, you get older and you develop and you grow, and you aren't the same as you were when you were born. A couple other things. Easy way to remember the 6 characteristics is Cal Ripken did reach every grounder. Stands for all living things are made of cells. They respond. or react to their environment. They contain DNA. They reproduce. They use energy. And they can grow. Alright, so that's going to be the really easy way to remember all 6 characteristics of life and make sure you have all of them. It doesn't matter if you put respond or reproduce first or second. This is just the order that I did it. Alright, lastly, a couple last notes. An organism was once living, it once had all 6 characteristics, but has since stopped functioning. So that means that something was allowed to, or something has died, but it was once living. And a non-living, this should not say organism because there are no such things as non-living organisms. So if something's non-living, it never had any of the 6 characteristics. Alright, so those are the last of the notes. When you guys come in here on Thursday, we're going to look at a story about a guy named Sammy who had a series of unfortunate events happen to him. And we'll check out what happened to him and determine whether he is considered living or not. So until then, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this works out well for you. Remember, anytime you need a refresher, you can go back and watch this. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you all tomorrow, and we'll get into this content and the curriculum on Thursday. Alright, have a good night, guys. Bye.